This segment is being brought to you by Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Join us in preserving and protecting Tennessee's wildlife. All right, welcome back, everyone. You can call us here at 737-7767. We'll be glad to answer any question you might have, and we'd like to keep it towards the collegiate bass fishing. But, you know, I ain't even talking. You just teased too much. I mean, we can't even get this stuff yet. But that's awesome. But now, you're fixing to go to Chickamauga.
Yes, sir.
How many schools do you think will be present there?
I think there'll probably be about 100 boats. It's a southeastern tournament, so basically every school within the southeast.
Now, is there a southeastern conference
for the
just
FLW?
Like for the FLW? Do they have an ACC to
There's
it?
no conference. It's not like
a conference
like the SEC or anything.
Okay, it's not conference.
Just like southeasterns, your schools in the southeast and northern and central, that sort of thing.
Okay, so they got them in quadrants or regions, and they do it like that.
Yes, and the Bassmaster does it different. Like we're in the Eastern Regional and Bassmaster, but we're in the Southeastern Regional and FLW. So it varies from series to series what region you're in, which is kind of weird.
Now, when it comes down to the you're getting kind of close to the end.
Right.
What are they? Is it an invite to come to the national championship, or is it?
It's a qualification.
It's a qualification.
Like this tournament we're fishing down here on Chickamauga, the FLW. The top 10 go straight to the national championship. So it depends on where you finish in these regional tournaments. It depends on whether you get to go fish in that national championship.
So how many schools do you think get represented at the nationals?
I would say,
the national
I
championship?
think it's 40. I think there's a boat club of 40 boats. So
40 boats.
40 schools.
So 40 schools get to go to it.
Yes, sir.
And do you already know the lake, or is it?
I don't think they've announced. Have they announced it yet?
They usually don't have it announced like straight off the beginning.
Okay.
Usually it kind of comes out later. And they used to have it to where you could only send one school, like one boat from each school.
Yeah.
But now you can have double qualifiers. So like one school could send multiple people. If you go to a tournament and say you have two teams finish in the top 10, they both get to go.
Yeah. Well, if you qualify.
Whereas used to it, they would pick the highest finishing boat from each school. But now in recent years they've changed it, so it's a little bit different.
How many schools now, Tanner, have collegiate bass fishing teams? Is there?
I know
it's growing.
I know at one point last year, looking at the official rankings, there was 345 colleges that were on the list.
That's a lot.
I think it's upper 300s now.
Compared to
upper 300s.
Compared to like major, I guess like the easiest comparison for people to understand, major collegiate football. There's roughly, I'm going to say 120-ish Division I major college football teams. So almost 3 times as many schools
in bass fishing. I'm amazed.
Crazy.
I wish they'd have had it when I might have went to college.
You can go back and get your master's. It's never too late.
That's right. You can do that, but it's awesome that you're saying. And you said that's grown, because I keep seeing they adding them every year. There's getting to be 1 or 2 more schools coming in, 4 or 5 more schools coming in. Some that you've never heard of before are starting to make a little move.
It's a great way for smaller schools to advertise too. That's one of the main reasons we promote getting out of class for tournaments. Is like we're up there on televised tournaments showing the Tennessee Tech logo, and people see that's great advertisement for a school like Tennessee Tech who doesn't have the Division I football like Knoxville say.
Right.
So we don't have a big time sport out there.
Right.
So when they see us up on TV, it's a good advertisement for the school, and I think that's great for a lot of small schools too.
Elliot, if you go out, and it's not this weekend that you are competing, but next weekend, the 24th. If say you come in first, and we hope to goodness you do. Hopefully you do. We're going to send vibes your way that you come in first. But okay, you come in first. What do you get as a fisherman, or what does your school get as you representing it?
Right, and it really depends from series to series. But the FLW, like you get a spot in the national championship, and then your school gets money for the FLW. So they'll write a check out to your school if you finish first or second or whatever. Now the Collegiate Bass Series, the Cabela Series, you actually are fishing for prizes for yourself. So like the Big Bass Bash, which is in March in Paris Landing every year that he was talking about earlier. They have like weigh-in sessions because it's a big bass tournament.
Right.
So they have different weigh-in sessions, and you're fishing for prize. Like my good buddy won a power pole last year, so you're fishing for prize. First gets a grand, second gets power pole. It's different sponsors every year give out different things.
Right.
Like different reels, rods, that sort of thing. So that you're fishing for prize. It just really depends on what series you're fishing as far as whether
What
it's going
kind
to
of money
school.
were we talking about that your school might be able to get?
A couple $1,000s. You can get good money, $6,000-7,000. So for first place, so it's
Now, do you get? I want to ask either both of you or both of you jump in and say, do you get residual monies for your team, like Mercury? If you're sponsored by Mercury and you place in the top,
Contingency money.
five, you get contingency money.
Yes.
Ranger Cup does.
The
That's
Ranger-
biggest one.
Yamaha does too.
But they do. They all keep. Usually they keep they have a variation of all their contingency stuffs. But the biggest one, and just like it is for even the FLW, is definitely Ranger Cup. At the FLW tournaments, if you have Ranger Cup, and that's your contingency on your jersey and stuff, and you promote it the right way you're supposed to, you're getting it if you finish first.
I want to ask you, Ed. You got Stance on Zora Bates as a brand new.
Yes,
now,
sir.
does Lee Hitchcock give you any contingency money?
No, sir.
Lee,
we get a good
Lee,
discount though. They don't.
Lee, we're gonna talk to you,
No,
buddy.
we get a good discount. I'm thankful for what Zoro gives us. They give us some.
Yeah,
great
but I'm gonna
products.
call him out. I mean,
Okay,
I'm gonna call him out.
I know
That's the
you
most
will.
Georgia talking Korean guy I've ever known in my life. But yeah, I'm gonna call him out on this. Lee, y'all need to give this boy some contingency money.
I appreciate that. We could use it for sure. But no, they're a great help for us for sure.
How does a college team get started, guys? I mean, say there's somebody out here that knows a college that doesn't have a team. How can they get started? Because it doesn't sound like it's hard. They just have to have some volunteers to start.
I'm going to say the biggest thing, and you don't really even necessarily have to have a lot of sponsors and stuff in your program. I would say more so it's a quality over quantity thing to go out and, for the most part, each year since I've been doing it, sponsors come and go. Some years, it's the same, some years it's not. The biggest thing is just actually having the backing to be able to go out and, do a full series where you're actually competing and giving yourself a chance or an opportunity to qualify for a national championship. I would say don't bite off more than you can chew right off the get-go. You don't necessarily have to go out and try to fish every FLW tournament, every
I
collegiate
like what
bass
you
tournament.
said earlier about getting your feet wet.
I
just a
would
little
definitely, for anybody school-wise or anything that's getting started, that first year I would more so pick one out, kind of look it over, see one that you think you can compete the best in, and I would,
See if you got talent on
I
the
would
team.
evaluate yourself from that way.
Yeah.
Go out, kind of use it to test the waters a little bit. That's probably the biggest thing that I would say. Because
You ought to consider being a coach. You really ought. Hey, we got a caller, and who we got? Randy, how can we help you tonight?
I just want to work out at the bass. They're catching on Percy Preach right now.
Woo! It's hard, isn't it? I mean, right now it's been tough. I got a report from Dayton Blair. He said that the water was down so low this year that the grass really grew up. Now they've let it come up, and you can't get to the rocks for all the grass. And Lamar Hill's one of my favorite places to fish. And he said, Hugh, you need to come look at Lamar Hill. There's 7 foot tall Johnson grass standing out there. I'm like, goodness gracious. But Tanner, you been out there?
I have not. I know that it was been lights
Dude,
out.
what
Not since the spring.
Not since the spring. So what would you do in that situation? Because they got to be headed up to the shallows
I would
now.
be checking the backs of some creeks and stuff, seeing if the bait's moving back in there for sure.
Oh, it is.
And then, check some main lake points, maybe try to find some schoolers here and there and stuff.
I'm going to give you a Dayton Blair special. I'll be using a black buzzbait early in the morning.
Black buzzbait early in the morning.
Black
Sounds good to me.
buzzbait early in the morning, the back of the creeks, and that's what I'd be chunking right up front.
Sounds good. Guys, I sure appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Randy. We appreciate it. That's just I heard that, and I haven't even been on Priest. I got to go Saturday because they're having that Take a Veteran Fishing Saturday out of Fate Center. So I volunteered to go help a veteran fish for a day. I don't know. know, but I'm gonna. Don't be in my way, Randy, when I go to Lamar Hill. Now, you can see that boat of mine. I'm gonna take a
I
left.
think I go up in the river.
Yeah, the river would be a good place too because
That's all I like to do right there.
that's a great place. But back to try and getting a team started. Is there still some colleges here in Tennessee that don't have a bass fishing team?
Actually, I have a good example. One of my good friends that fished for Bryan College down
Right.
in Dayton, which is a very established program.
Right.
They give a lot of scholarships and everything. He transferred to Lee University. He's trying to get something started over there at Lee. He says the hardest thing for him is getting the university behind it. Getting them to actually give you permission to, represent their logo and whatnot.
What?
So
Now, are they afraid of liabilities or?
I'm not exactly sure. I could see that being a reason because
Let me tell you something. I got a lure in the nose just the other day.
Exactly. But plus, you give a college kid, out there with a 250 horsepower motor or 200 horsepower motor racing against other college kids, stuff can happen. I've personally seen it happen. But I mean, it's just.
Did it happen the other day when I took the
No. Hey, I babied that thing, and I appreciate that so much. I ran that thing.
I thought Tanner was going to get mad. He said, if you were competing against Tanner and he looked over there and saw my boat, he might run you over.
No, I babied that thing. I was scared to death. I did not want to bring it back. I wanted to bring it back better than I got it.
You did too. I appreciate
Yes,
that.
sir.
You did. I have to say, you're a trustworthy and ethical guy. I'm telling you. A lot of them would have left, candy wrappers and all that.
I tried to pick
You
it
did
all
great.
up. I don't
You
know
did
if I did
great.
or not.
All right, we got to do our tip of the week, so let's go to it right now. This week's tip is being brought to you by Davidson County Farmers Co-op. Scott Cooper and all those fine folks over there at your Davidson County Co-op can help you out. I'm telling you, it's getting that season. You better be thinking about fall and winter and how to get those animals warm and keeping them warm. They've got all kinds of pet pens and things like that you can go take a look at. Also, they have got redneck blinds, and if you have not seen a redneck blind, you need to go do yourself a favor and go by there and check them out. They have got redneck blinds from a single all the way to the quads and deluxes, and it's for anybody's pocketbook that wants to get in one. It's big enough you can put a bed in one.
Party box.
It's a party box.
Party box.
That's right. So we're going to ask Elliot to give us a good tip.
Yes, sir. My tip of the week is go smaller on profile baits this time of year. I know that sounds a little crazy, especially if you're fishing the Tennessee River and everything. Everybody throws those big swim baits this time of year. But fish have seen a lot. It's been 8-9 months since the beginning of the year. A lot of pressure, lakes like Old Hickory and Priest. A lot of times, if you're not getting those bites, just throw a smaller profile bait because a lot of the hatch is still small this time of year. Throw that smaller profile bait and you'll get more bites.
I got to say an amen to that one because I've been noticing Old Hickory,
Small hatch.
they're smaller. They're
Small hatch.
sizing it down a little bit. Yeah, they're sizing it down a little bit.
But that's a
By
last resort.
That's a great, but I'm going to tell you something. The bait are in there by the jillions.
Oh, yeah.
But they're all about 1.5 inches long.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're matching the hatch, ladies and gentlemen, you better go
Match the hatch.
just do just like Elliot said and downsize just a little bit, and you might catch yourself a nice sack of fish. All right, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, Marty Rule is in the house, and this time he went Italiano on us. So hurry back to more Southern Woods and Waters.